Niemen. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more from ChanandTan, please hit subscribe and press the bell icon. 大家好，我是钱叔叔。Hi everybody, my name's Uncle Chan and welcome to the ChanandTan kitchen. Now, before we get started with today's recipe, I have to declare an unreserved love for Southeast Asia. Now, I don't know whether it's the sun, the food, or the people, but something's been drawing me back there for 20 years. During my travels, I've tried so many Malaysian, Indonesian, Filipino, Chinese, Thai recipes, but one of my all-time favorites is Beef Rendang from Sumatra Island, Indonesia. Today, we're going to be making it with natural, authentic ingredients. So let's get cooking. For this recipe, we're going to use 2 sets of spices. The first set we're going to put to one side because we're going to use them later in the wok. The second set we're going to use now and we're going to make a paste. I'll leave a full description of all the ingredients and a step-by-step of the recipe in the description below. We're going to start with our 12 dried chilies, which we've had soaking in water for the last hour. We're just going to cut them in half and then we're going to take out the seeds. If you prefer your dish a little hotter, you can always leave some of the seeds in. I prefer to keep the seeds on the side and then at the end I can always add a little bit extra to taste. Now you're going to want to peel and chop 5 of these beautiful shallots. Don't worry, they can be roughly cut as they're all going in the blender. Next up are 2 of my most favourite ingredients, galangal and ginger. Ginger you will be familiar with, that fresh, sweet yet spicy taste. Galangal will be less familiar to many of you. It is a staple in Southeast Asian cooking and is available in most Chinese supermarkets. It offers a sharper, spicier and more peppery taste. You'll need 5 cloves of garlic. I like to bash it with the side of a knife on the chopping board. It just makes it easier to release the skin and the garlic comes away really, really easily. Last but not least, we're going to cut up and add one of the most fragrant items in our spice list, the lemongrass. Let's now blitz all these items together in the blender until we get a nice moist paste. You can use some of the leftover water from the chilies if it's a little bit dry. But this is absolutely perfect. Just look at that rich colour and the fragrance that's coming off those spices. We are good to go. Prepare our beef for stewing. I've got 1.5 kilograms of chuck steak, but you can use brisket or any other kind of stewing steak. It doesn't necessarily need to be of high quality because we're going to cook this for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours until it's lovely and tender. So I'm just going to take my lovely steak. Look at those beautiful pieces of steak. They're absolutely marvellous. And we're just going to cut them up into reasonable size pieces. Please bear in mind that the beef will reduce during the slow cooking process. So be reasonably generous with your chunks. We are across at the pan now, and this is where everything comes together. So add some oil to the pan and just wait until that comes up to temperature. Now we're going to add our paste that we made earlier. You will be able to smell all those lovely spices and the fragrance that they produce. This is absolutely amazing. Give it a nice stir in the pan. Next in is our star anise. Now you'll need about 3 or 4 of these. A cinnamon stick which I've broken up. And 3 cardamom pods. I've put a lot in here just to demonstrate, but you only need 3 of them, so do be careful. Don't overdo it because it is quite pungent. And the same goes for the cloves. You only need about 3 or 4 cloves. Again, finish by giving all this a stir. And we're going to get ready for our beef. Now we will add our beef. Our wonderful beef. Look at the colour of that beef. It is absolutely looks delicious. And we will stir this in, and we will also add our pounded lemongrass from earlier. Now, there are a lot of spices and other ingredients in this recipe, and I'm going to leave a link in the description to a few supermarkets and online retailers where you can buy these products. So don't be concerned, I'm just going to wait until the beef is completely browned throughout. It's important to, while it's on high heat, it's important to keep stirring so that the beef does not stick to the pan. Now we're going to add a spoonful of this lovely tamarind paste. You see that? Oh, the colours are absolutely wonderful. And now we've got our Gula Melaka, which is the sugar from Malacca. Now, if you can't get this sugar, because I was fortunate enough to visit Malaysia recently, if you can't get this, you can use brown sugar, demerara sugar, or even white sugar if you want to. And just allow that to melt in there. And one of the most important ingredients now we're going to add is the coconut milk. So again, you want to slowly add the coconut milk. And just watch as I stir this in. You can see that the beef has turned a lovely brown colour. You can see it's speckled with the chilies. There is the lemongrass, the cinnamon, cardamom pods, the ginger. There is really a lot in here to love. Now the next thing is your kaffir lime leaves. So we're just going to break those up and put those in. Now kaffir lime leaves are quite easy to get these days. You can get them in the Chinese supermarket, but retailers like Sainsbury's and Tesco also have these as well. Now, before we put this on to simmer for an hour and a half, we're going to put in our coconut that we produced earlier on. So, just put that in there. And this is going to give a lovely, lovely texture to the dish. You can see it's beginning to thicken up already. It's beginning to get a little bit stiffer to stir. And once this has cooked and all the meat will have tenderized and it will be absolutely delicious. So there we have. We're going to turn down the heat to a very low heat. We're going to pop the lid on now. We're going to keep an eye on this every 20 minutes just to give it a stir and just to make sure that it's not sticking to the pot. But I estimate about an hour and a half to 2 hours to cook through, and for all the juices to have gotten all sticky, the liquid will have reduced, and the beef should just fall off the bone. So now that our beef has been stewing in those intense spices for the last hour and 45 minutes, we're going to check and see how it's doing. This is the exciting part. So let's take the lid off. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Just look at how the beef has absorbed all those spices. The beef has almost formed a kind of caramelized consistency. It looks and smells absolutely delicious. I'm going to take a piece of beef and I'm just going to show you how tender it is. Just look how the beef falls apart. It is cooked to perfection. And I'm going to taste a little bit. The rich spices, the coconut milk, and the ginger, it is absolutely to die for. Really, really nice.